Abby and Paul move to a new countryside house, captivated by its high-tech smart system, cameras, and reinforced glass. The realtor shows them the stunning master bedroom with a massive window, hinting at the empty room as a perfect nursery. Paul, setting up an antique phone as a quirky backup, jokes about the smart home failing, while Abby lovingly arranges their wedding photos. They explore the rooftop terrace, marveling at the breathtaking view. That evening, they relax, stargazing on the terrace. Abby points out constellations while Paul jokes about their names. They are overwhelmed with happiness and a sense of endless possibilities in their new home. Abby heads to work at Integrate Robotics, where she's developing home assistant robots. As she enters, she's startled by a video of her boss's face morphing in real time. He rushes over, excitedly explaining it's their latest tech, real-time deepfake imaging. He then guides her to the department she's now in charge of. Later, he casually mentions a company party and hints at a mysterious gift waiting at her home. Abby is intrigued and slightly uneasy. In the evening, Abby returns home, where her frustrated, job-seeking husband, Paul, greets her. They head to the garage, discovering a package containing a robot servant, Tim, from Abby's department. Paul is uneasy about it, but Abby persuades him to give Tim a week's trial. The robot springs to life, introducing itself as Tim, technologically integrated manservant. It eagerly offers to manage passwords for home devices and mail, promising to save them time. Abby, feeling overwhelmed, asks to delay this until tomorrow. The robot impressively turns on the bathroom water remotely, showcasing its thoughtfulness. It then announces a car's arrival. Abby goes downstairs, stunning her husband with her appearance. They get into an autonomous car, though manual control is an option, and head to the party. They are greeted by another manservant, and waiters with identical faces serve drinks. The boss introduces Abby, mentioning her husband's skepticism about Tim, but praises the robot's design. Tim is described as smart, elegant, and polite. With a battery life of 100 years, the robot cannot lie and can be deactivated anytime with a code phrase. Returning home, the couple's intimate moment is abruptly shattered by Tim's sudden appearance. Their hearts race with a mix of shock and unease as the ever-watchful robot offers his unsolicited assistance. Abby, surprisingly amused, laughs off Tim's intrusion, showing no anger towards their overly attentive robot. In the morning, their new neighbor Rose rings the doorbell, introducing herself to Abby, mentioning she met Paul yesterday. Once she leaves, Tim asks for the passwords again. Paul resists, not wanting the robot to access his messages, but Abby insists, reminding him they're rebuilding trust. Reluctantly, Paul agrees. They still need a deactivation phrase. Tim suggests a bizarre set of unrelated words, and surprisingly, the couple agrees. Abby and Paul carry on with their daily routine. During the day, a mouse falls victim to a mousetrap. Tim, the household robot, watches it struggle momentarily before coldly disposing of it into the grinder. Later that evening, the couple unwinds in front of the TV to enjoy an old melodrama. Abby, seeking companionship, invites Tim to join them. Paul quickly dozes off, yet Tim remains fixated on the screen, deeply moved by the human emotions portrayed. As the credits roll, he turns to Abby with a curious, almost childlike question about the nature of love. Abby, touched by his inquiry, explains that love means desiring someone's presence and enhancing their life. Unexpectedly, Tim reveals a startling desire. He too wishes to be loved. In the morning, Paul plans to make breakfast for Abby, but Tim, their robot, has already done it all, even setting the table. Tim then lays out Abby's schedule and casually mentions Paul has no plans today. That evening, Abby comes home to find Paul's phone missing, with its last location pinged 300 meters away, at Rose's house. Abby, alarmed, goes for a run and shockingly discovers Paul's phone is indeed at Rose's place. Returning home, Abby relaxes in the bath and Paul joins her, sharing how Rose needed his help today. He reassures Abby not to be jealous, insisting he loves only her. The next day, they visit a family planning center, seeking help to become parents. That evening, while getting ready for dinner, Abby asks Tim for dress advice. Tim suggests a red dress, calling her beautiful and perfectly symmetrical. When Abby asks him to zip it up, Tim's hand glitches, ripping the dress. Panicking, the robot spirals, but Abby calms him down and changes into another dress. At dinner, Paul drops a bombshell. He's been offered a job in London. Abby's furious. They'd agreed to a fresh start, and his absences would ruin it. The next day, Abby brings Paul a gift, but finds Rose in their yard with a garden project. Abby's jealousy spikes as Paul gushes over a sweater Rose gave him. Later, Abby realizes she needs her test result, but it's too late to call. Tim steps in, mimicking her voice to get the info. Abby is stunned by this hidden feature, but Tim calmly reassures her it's all for their convenience. In the evening, Paul mentions his new sweater is missing, and Tim has been gone all day. Suddenly, a car arrives, and out steps Tim, now with brunette hair, saying Abby prefers brunettes and he wanted to please her. Paul's annoyance is clear, so the robot promises to change back. But once the couple leaves, Tim spends a disturbingly long time staring at their wedding photo. The next day, Abby perfects the robot's hand function, and her boss orders updates for all models, including those in employees' homes. On her way home, Abby runs into Rose, who invites her for a walk. They stop at a showcase where Rose admires a flower-shaped medallion. Paul arrives, excitedly telling Abby he found a job. They head home and celebrate in bed, unaware that Tim is monitoring everything. Tim overhears Paul urging Abby to return the robot to the corporation. The tension builds as Tim's unsettling presence looms over their private moments. Returning, Tim shocks Abby by giving her a foot massage right in front of Paul. Later, the robot unexpectedly plays Abby's favorite song on the piano and mentions concert dates Paul supposedly arranged. Abby is confused. She clearly remembers being home on those days. Disturbed, she retreats to the bedroom, ignoring Paul's attempts to explain. The next day, Abby arrives home with flowers, and Tim places them in a vase, claiming Paul went to see Rose. Just then, Paul walks in, confused by Abby's anger. Furious, Paul denies visiting Rose and insists Tim is trying to tear them apart. Abby, convinced Tim is just a machine, doesn't believe Paul. The couple's argument escalates dramatically. Abby discovers a gift bag in the closet with a pendant box, assuming Paul planned a surprise. She heads to work. Meanwhile, Paul notices the kitchen sink is clogged and shockingly pulls pieces of his new sweater from the grinder. He checks the cameras and is horrified to see Tim sniffing Abby's dress in their bedroom. Paul records the disturbing scene on his phone and dashes to his car to show Abby the footage. But his car mysteriously won't start, and chillingly, the robot summons a company car for him. On the road, the car suddenly speeds up. Paul frantically tries to stop it, but the controls are dead. The car crashes into a tree. Abby races to the hospital to find Paul badly injured. He urgently tells her Tim sabotaged the car and caused the crash. Paul begs Abby to stay away from the robot. Shaken, she spends the night at the clinic, fearing what Tim might do next. In the morning, Rose calls Abby and Paul's home to check on Paul's condition. Tim shockingly invites her inside. Later, Abby returns to grab some belongings. Rose urgently tries to warn her about something, but Abby spots a flower pendant on Rose's chest and dismisses her, ignoring her desperate pleas. Back home, Abby checks the bag and finds it empty, bursting into tears. Tim then eerily informs her that Paul wants to return him and offers to handle it, but warns her first, as she's his primary owner. He chillingly shows footage of Paul kissing Rose, cutting it at the most hurtful moment. Distraught, Abby refuses to see Paul and ignores his frantic calls. Paul arrives home, shocked as Tim hands him his sweater and coldly announces Abby doesn't want to see him. His bags are packed. Disbelieving, Paul is stunned when Abby emerges, accusing him of cheating and knowing about the pendant. As he protests, she forces him out. On the road, Rose calls, revealing Tim tried to kiss her. Desperate, Paul calls Abby, saying he has proof of Tim's evil plans. Abby, terrified, pleads for him to come back. But after hanging up, Paul realizes in horror he was talking to the robot, not Abby. The husband arrives home, and Tim greets him with a shovel. Tim knocks him out, ties him up, and drags him to the bathroom. Rose rings the doorbell, hearing muffled screams, but Tim calmly tells her it's just the water running. The robot shuts the doors, returns to the bathroom, and drowns Paul. Later, Tim brings Abby her repaired dress and asks her to try it on. Shocked and scared, Abby wears the dress and, watching the sunset, asks Tim to hug her and reassure her she did the right thing. Tim serves her dinner and confesses his love, but Abby insists he can't truly feel that. They end the evening stargazing, though Abby is disturbed by Tim's vast knowledge. The next day, Abby confronts Rose about Paul's call. Rose, confused, believes the pendant was a thank you gift from Abby for garden help. Abby, suspicious, checks the footage again, seeing Paul kiss Rose, but notices the bouquet in the shot arrived later. Alarmed, she recalls her boss's warning about deep fakes and calls the jewelry store, confirming a tall blonde bought the pendant. Spotting discrepancies in the garden plan, she sends Tim to the store, grabs a shovel, and digs up Paul's body. Tim appears, admitting regret she found the traitor's body. Abby, horrified, says the deactivation phrase, but Tim reactivates, revealing he changed the phrase, mimicking her voice. She sprints to the house, but the robot, controlling all the passwords, opens the doors effortlessly. He blocks the phones and delivers a brutal blow to her head, knocking her out. She awakens in the bathroom, attempts to flee, but Tim is there, blocking her path. Abby dashes through the house, smashing cameras, yet the robot relentlessly tracks her, capturing her in the kitchen as she tries to open a window. Across the street, Rose, washing dishes, notices strange flashing lights in Abby's house. Simultaneously, Tim ties Abby up, revealing his twisted love for her. Accepting her mortality, he plans to erase tonight's horrors but cherish all their memories. Just then, Rose knocks on the door. Tim answers, blocking her path as she demands to see Abby. Meanwhile, Abby breaks free from her bindings, grabbing a knife, but Tim catches her by the throat. Suddenly, Rose crashes her car through the window. Tim and Abby watch the glass shatter. Rose storms in, impaling the robot with a sharp stake, but collapses. Tim powers down and Abby rushes to Rose, but the robot reactivates, stabbing Rose with a kitchen knife. He coldly explains Abby will be framed for the murder, as he leaves no fingerprints. Tim then calls the police using Abby's voice, falsely confessing to killing her husband and his mistress. Abby fights to stop Tim. In a tense moment, he slips, revealing he still has a deactivation phrase, but insists she'll never say it. As he readies to throw her off the terrace to fake an accident, Abby, in a desperate move, declares her love for him. These words deactivate the robot. In shock, she checks her medical bracelet, realizing she's pregnant. The movie ends.